Hello, gorgeous Librans, and welcome to February 2020. We are going to sit down and we are going to talk through some of the really powerful, nurturing energy going on here in February. Now, of course, February begins another Mercury retrograde cycle. We have a few of these every year, and so it's kind of the most famous of the transits in many ways, other than like the full moon or something like that. And the thing that I've really come to love about Mercury retrogrades is they really are a great time for nourishment, for soul nourishment, for slowing down, for not being so electrical, so communicative, busy, moving, and to take a moment to check in. So the first thing that really came up for me here with the Libran family is that Mercury is retrograding through Pisces and into a little bit of Aquarius during this retrograde. So it's mostly in Pisces with a touch of Aquarius on the end. And this retrograde is taking place in your sixth house of your physical care, for how your routines and your habits are working for you, and then it moves back into your fifth house in Aquarius of your creativity. And I think these two houses go together really well, because on the one hand, in order to be creative, in order to feel full, in order to be in that kind of playful headspace, we need to have routines that really reflect who we are now and what's working for us now. And every once in a while, those need to come up for review. So this retrograde's really great for you all in checking in with that. Like seriously, just looking around, does, what you do when you get up in the morning work for you? Everybody needs some slightly different things. Some people need to exercise right away. Some people need to journal. Some people need to take a little bit of extra time to get that extra rest. Some people maybe are wanting to get up earlier and do more. So this Venus retrograde is very healing for you, very nurturing for the Libran clan. And the thing that actually I was noticing for your message coming through, Librans, this month was that you are getting woken and shaken from an old dream and into a new one. And so your shift in reality there could be a little strange, not necessarily abrupt, as much as you kind of notice that you have woken up into a new kind of era, and things are slightly different. The world feels and looks a little bit different to you. And there's a lot of transits this month that are nudging you toward King of Cups. I love it. We are in Aquarius and then in Pisces season during February, so a very, very powerful, expansive month in the year, a leap year as well. But this is the transits are helping you do that. Wheel of Fortune, yes. So everything's kind of nudging you toward waking up into this next reality and really embracing it. And I think the first place we can see that is in Mercury retrograde, really having you look at what is working for you and what cannot come along with you. And we're talking in the day-to-day. It's not always about the big crazy selling your house and moving across the country. Sometimes it's about the routines, and there's the hermit to show us the way, right? That quiet, ancient wisdom that moves slowly and kind of outside of the realm of the hustle and bustle. So we have that. We also have a lot of really other great. So Venus is moving into Aries, so it's moving into your seventh house of relationships. So very loving energy, very flirtatious energy. The Sun, wow, Librans, yeah, you're getting some amazing cards here. You also have a full moon in Leo in your 11th house of your community, your friendships, your revolution. So that full moon's going to really highlight how you want to move forward in the world. Strength, wow. Lots of Sun energy, lots of Leo energy in the Libran reading, which is interesting. That Leo full moon may be really powerful for you. That note that was coming up about being shaken awake from a dream. Eight of Swords, we always got to have, with any growth, we've got to have a little discomfort, right? Because we're outgrowing a shell. And whenever we're growing and we're changing and we're creating new energetic pathways in our mind, in our thought processes, the old ones want to put up a little bit of a fight. They want there's last stand. And so they often show up. Five of Cups. They often show up these points of pain, these points of looking back, assessing, connecting do come up when we have so much shaking us and moving us forward. And of course, as we move into Pisces season, the sun's moving from your creative core in Aquarius, where you're playing and you're dabbling and you're having fun exploring, into that sixth house of how you want that routine to look. So this is, one thing I would say about this month is it's a very self-evaluative evaluating month for Librans. So it's a great check-in point. And I know we've just done a lot of checking in with eclipse season. And by the way, oh, and the tower. Whoa. Okay. We're going to talk through this. It's actually really funny because a couple signs got the tower last month, including Leo, which is my sun sign. And the tower is working really differently in 2020 than it does it maybe has worked in other years. So don't let it alarm you too much, because there's something really powerful going on here. And just what I was saying with that evaluating what's working for you, evaluating what you can take with you. I think there's different ways we transform. And sometimes it happens in big cataclysmic events where breakups happen, or jobs change, or or health things come up that force change, right? That can definitely happen. But with you all, the revolution is coming in the form of there being nudges forward, in the form of there being this caretaking of your daily routines, your rituals, your habits. And that's what I'm seeing here. Like, what's really interesting for me is we start the month with all of these powerful nudges, shaking you from an old dream world into a new dream world. And that dream world, what does it look like? There are new textures, there are new flavors, there are new things to work with, figuring out how to work with the materials at hand and how to understand them and how to taste and walk and feel. It's like being on a completely new planet when you're working with this energy. So you got all this input, right? And then what happens when that culminates at the end of a really powerful month, where you are using that Mercury retrograde to check in with yourself, where you are using that full moon in Leo to illuminate where you're going next. These things culminate in there being big changes in your life, but it doesn't always have to come from destruction, right? In the way that maybe we think about destruction and freedom. The idea of freedom and healing and nurturing and growing into our next selves has less of that old world, past centuries, past millennia kind of feel to it. So there's a real change there. Let me just give you a couple dates before we talk through these cards as well. So the Mercury retrograde exact dates are, it stations retrograde on February 17th, and it goes direct on March 10th. So second half of the month, we're really feeling through this, though the beginning, February 1st, we start the pre-shadow phase. So we're really working all of February and March. We are really working with Mercury doing that internalization, that learning, going over things, checking in with things. So keep that in mind. Full moon is happening on the 9th. The new moon in Pisces is happening on the 23rd. And those are the really big things happening this month. We are steadily moving out of the eclipse energy and the Capricorn homework that we've been doing. So that's nice. So here's the thing, you all. You got some revolutionary energy coming in here. This King of Cups next to the Wheel of Fortune says something to me. King of Cups could, represent you really getting in touch with your emotional core and what you're really needing. Self-mastery in the way of the divine masculine in water, and intuitive and emotional intelligence. It's a really powerful energy. Now, you may also have a very emotionally intelligent, powerful presence in your life, a situation, a person that's coming in that's helping you see here where you need to change, where you need to shift those gears, where you're needing to click into some new aspects of life, of where you're going next. And the Wheel of Fortune is really powerful, right? I mean, kind of like the Tower that we're going to talk about in a little bit here. The Wheel of Fortune is something where you kind of see something new. Your perspective changes, your paradigm changes. You can't really go back to the way things were. There's a shift out going on here. And this can be very concrete. I think it starts from internal though, and that's where that King of Cups is so powerful. And also, honestly, the Hermit. The King of Cups and the Hermit work from the inside out. They work from self-reflection and evaluation outward into the world, right? But you have this Wheel of Fortune, which is changes in the world around you. And there's a realization going on here about what is shifting. It's, so I feel like the beginning of this month, you're going to know already what it is that's changing in your life and what it is that you are letting go of, because there is something that you're preparing here to really shift out of. There's something here that was serving you maybe, or was working with you quite well for a while. And now, that version of yourself, that lifestyle is going away. And you may also be noticing that you're just taking a moment to really take that in. You know, King of Cups and the Hermit are very wise, slow moving energies. They don't want quick results. They would much rather take the time to check in with the process and really see the information. They're very perceptive energies here. So that whole idea of sixth house healing, right? Checking in with your routines, checking in with your body, checking in with what's working for you is a really powerful tool set actually for you to see clearly what it is that is shifting. But here's the thing. We are also in Aquarius season, my friends. And Aquarius season for Librans is an amazing time of year. It's very powerful. It's very buoyant. It's very playful. The sun and strength are really tied to Leo energy, and we of course have that full moon in Leo. So during Aquarius season, during the full moon in Leo, these are very harmonious energies for you, and they are expansive, and this energy really connects in with heart chakra. And you know, heart chakra energy, it's that feeling like even when something scares you, even when something's a little overwhelming or big or bigger than like maybe you can take in like a single day, it makes you light up. It helps you glow from the inside out. It's this feeling of this adventure that you're meant to go on. And I think here's where the macro lens is really important. So you have the micro lens, you're looking around you at the materials you have around you, what's working, what's not. And you also have this huge dose of big vision coming in here that is saying, hey, let's open this up to something really huge for you. Let's open this up to a whole new world of opportunity, of brightness, of light. And so these energies right here are trying to ignite some kind of fire in you, and they're nudging you towards something really huge. Now, here's the thing. I think when we really tap into our soul song, as I talk about, and we tap into that North Star, however you want to visualize that process of hearing where you are now and who you're becoming now, because sometimes I think we map out who we think we're going to be in, like, let's say October, November. You're like, okay, it's coming to the end of the decade. This is what I think is going to be 2020 is going to be all about. So I'm going to like map it out. I'm going to write it up. I'm determined. And we get into the new year and we get into a month like February with a Mercury retrograde and with some really powerful nurturing energy. And then we're working with different things than we had decided previously that's what we were working with and that's who we were going to be. And suddenly you're in this new phase. You got to be open to it, right? And there is some grief that comes with that, and a little confusion and a little fogginess that can sometimes come with our resistance to the way things end up panning out. And that's where Five of Cups and Eight of Swords comes in here. You know, this is that mental fogginess and this is that emotional grief. And I think too, when really positive, really huge, buoyant things come in, we need the counterbalancing here. Because here's the thing, it's guaranteed that if you are building into a new huge adventure, like moving in with a partner or starting a new job or starting a new project or living in a new place or even just changing your food and diet habits, whatever it is, something is going away, right? Something is leaving your life. Something is not going to be the same anymore. And sometimes this can really tie to very old versions of self, like when we were a 10-year-old and we developed a habit or a thought about who we were in the world that can be going away. And that can feel disorienting at times, but here's the thing, that is liberation. So don't be surprised if you're feeling huge waves of excitement, clarity, creativity, vision, really great connections with people who support you and love you and get you, and feelings of being lit up and excited and clear. And then having days where maybe you have more anxiety, where you have big waves of grief, where you feel confused, because this is what this whole process is doing with you. Now, let's talk the Tower here, because yes, I know it's the elephant in the room of this reading. It came out at the very end of this whole dialogue that we've been having, but here's the thing with the Tower. Just like Mercury retrograde gets a bad rap, the Tower gets a bad rap. Here's the thing with the Tower. This card, the symbolism is of toppling the aristocracy. And the way that I've come to really understand this energy is we all have kind of an inner dictator. And in fact, I had an exercise laid out for Librans today that had come up when I was preparing your notes and thinking through and feeling through what you had going on. And we're going to get to that in a second. And it ties into this this Tower card in wild ways, actually, because the Tower is about toppling the aristocracy, and we almost all of us have an inner dictator within us that tells us we're not good enough, we need to work harder, is ready to punish and discipline and put us in prison when we aren't doing these structured things. And that dictator is often a survival mechanism to get through maybe harsher learning environments, parental environments, but it becomes something of a problem when we are adults and we no longer have the stakes in survival that are there. So a lot of times the Tower comes in to topple that power dynamic within us and give us greater freedom. Now, when we let it build up long enough, yes, external things will come in and knock those things loose, right? So that is a possibility. But a lot of times this comes in, the call's coming from within the house, and this is something that's coming and emanating from within you and getting louder and louder until there's a change and there's a break. Now, part of what you're grieving is letting that dictator take a step back. So let's talk through the exercise while we have this topic here. And this is something that different loving kindness meditation experts, there's different ways they all describe it. So this isn't something that I've come up with. This is kind of a known technique, but it's really beautiful and it's very simple. And the adaptation that I always follow through with is Martha Beck. She's one of my favorites. So you hold out your palms. And you imagine in each palm, you imagine this ruler, this really, oligarchical, dictatorial ruler, right? It could be a military general. It could be like a cruel dictator sitting on a seat, however, a character from Game of Thrones, what have you, whatever your inner policing agent is. And then imagine the wild child in your other palm, who is curious, but maybe a little scared, always feeling that they're doing things wrong, like they're going to get caught for doing things wrong. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to talk to both of them and say, it's okay. I love you. You can take a rest. And especially focusing on that dictator. The wild child will, I think, take that in very easily. The wild child's like, great, let's have a nap. The dictator, you will notice, is exhausted from constantly policing, constantly looking out for things that are scary. And in sending that loving kindness, that gentleness toward that, you'll feel something release in you that's holding you tight and often giving you anxiety or exhaustion or nervousness about things. And this is you could do this daily. You can do this whenever you're feeling some tension. It really helps you to find humane love toward this part of yourself that is stressed, that is wanting control. And it also helps you unlock a clearer understanding of what it is that's wanting to shift in your life, because when you give that inner dictator a chance to breathe, a chance to rest, you can hear the message that inner dictator is trying to give you via fear and via a structure, from that softer, more playful side that's coming in from this fiery Leonine energy, this sun and strength energy that's so strong for you this month, and this Wheel of Fortune energy that's calling you forward. Now, final thing I wanted to add to our reading today is I wrote up a whole bunch of words for the month of February, and I'm going to pull one for you all that will be your final note for the month of February. And I love this. The word that came out is healing. I just wrote these on a piece of paper and cut them up into little squares. I just thought it'd be fun to connect, just really abstract, without visuals, without extra cards. Healing. Healing is the word that came up for Librans. And when I see the Tower and I see the Five of Cups and I see the Hermit and I see the Wheel of Fortune, and even just these playful, fun cards, what I'm seeing there is healing. And like I said, this Mercury retrograde is here for you to feel connected, to feel soft, to feel that loving kindness, and to connect with all these big changes coming up in your life through that lens of healing kindness. So what I wish for you this month is to feel ease, to feel softness, to feel curiosity, and to let those voices guide you forward through, I think, some pretty big changes up ahead. And I think you know what those are and you've been feeling through them. For many of you, these are very positive, but it also means you're leaving behind a version of yourself that is no longer clicking. which can sometimes be alarming, surprising, because you thought this was working. On paper, it looks great. You should be satisfied, and it's not clicking. What's wrong with me? Why can't I appreciate this? Everybody says I need to be practicing gratitude. That is true. Gratitude's a great tool. But sometimes things just, we change. We are undulating beings. We're not static. That's the strange myth that is ingrained in us, that we somehow have to find out who we are, discover who that is, and then we're static. That'll never be the case. And this month is definitely one of undulation for the Libran clan out there. I'm sending you all so much love. You can find me on Instagram at SarahVerba. I have a few sessions available still in February, I think. They may be gone by the point these are out, but you can always check my calendar. I will be having a rolling opening calendar, so every few weeks I'll be adding new dates. So keep an eye out on my website if you are interested in that. I will leave the link below. You can also find me on Patreon, which is where I'm going to be doing more moon rituals coming up. So with each new and full moon, we'll be sitting and doing some extra discussion there. You get your weekly astro report, and you get to hear about me and my process. And I get a lot more personal on Patreon. So if you want to join me over there, that'd be awesome. I'm wearing PinkLune's jewelry as always. She's got some beautiful new stuff over in her shop, so go check her out. I will see you all in March for more beautiful unfolding of this life, this wild and crazy life. I'm sending you so much love.